There you go.
There we go.
See what I mean?
Yep.
Mistakes. Okay, today is June 8th. The year is 2020. Okay, I am Ray Regalado, chair, and I would like to introduce the staff supporting the meeting and identify the roles. They will be heard speaking during the course of the meeting. Okay, so Lori will be the moderator, but also acting as a co-host. And we have Cheryl here with us doing the, excuse me, the minutes for this meeting today. And she will be taking roll call and also calling for votes until it's changed in the more appropriate parts of the meeting. Okay, so during the meeting tonight, we will be discussing the items listed on the meeting agenda in numerical order, unless I receive a request from a board member to take an item out of order. When the agenda item is open to the public, this is for you all, the following steps must be completed to be recognized by the moderator. For telephone attendees, you must press *9 on your dial pad. And for computer users in the Zoom window, click raise hand option. The moderator will see all those indicated, and they will, who indicated that they would like to comment, and will allow comments on a first come, first served basis. So let me say that we're going to try very hard to take them in the order that they come in. So again, if there's a mistake there, it's not intentional, and we'll definitely catch up. For public comment, when it is the member of the public to turn, and when it's their turn to speak, the moderator will announce either the 4 digits of the telephone number that if they're calling in, or state the person's name as indicated on the Zoom participant list. The moderator will unmute the speaker and ask that they state their name for the record and proceed with their comment. When the time has expired, the moderator will mute the speaker and advise their time for the comment has concluded. Now, previous meeting says that we have to be really consistent with the time amount that we're going to be allowing. So we're going to be allowing 2 minutes per individual to comment. So make sure that you're aware that you have 2 minutes. Be very concise with your comments. If your time runs out, Lori will give you an opportunity to finish your comment, you know, briefly, and then she will mute you, and then we will go on to the next person. If you have a general comment on an item that is not listed on the agenda, you may provide your comment during the general public comment portion of the meeting. General public comment is limited to 2 minutes maximum. No individual speaker will be allowed more than 1 comment unless the officer of the board decides differently. Public comment should be directed to the board rather than to an individual. Please understand there are applicable laws that limit the actions that we may take during tonight's meeting. Thus, we may be legally prohibited from acting on a concern that you have expressed. However, your concern may become a topic of discussion at a future board meeting after we have had a chance to list them on the agenda. Okay, we're going to start from the agenda. So do you want to put up the agenda, Lori?
I did. Can you not see it?
No, actually we see all your PDFs in order. So I'm wondering.
Seriously, I have.
You see yours?
Yeah, I see it on mine. I see the agenda.
Well, it looks like the board agenda is highlighted, but we don't see it actually.
I don't really understand that because it's on my screen.
Yeah, I think we're seeing your folder that has all the.
Well, there's no secrets there, but I don't know why it's not showing. It says you. Gwen thinks she has an answer. Yes, Gwen?
Try clicking on that window where the PDF is. Just click
I did. It's open on my screen.
No, I meant physically click on the window or touch, you know what I mean? Click on it.
Oh, something popped up.
There we go.
Second.
Can you see it now?
No. Octaviano has his hand raised. Maybe he has a suggestion.
Okay, can you unmute him?
Oh, I can unmute myself. Thank you.
Okay.
Ray, if you want to promote me to co-host, I have the agenda on my screen.
But Octaviano, I need to fix this. I have all kinds of documents to show tonight.
Oh, okay. Why don't you close what you have? And
I did.
Well, it says that I can see all your PDFs.
Okay.
Okay, now it's closed.
So try it again, but try to just share your desktop instead of just document or the window, so we can see everything that you're doing.
It won't let me do any sharing now. I'm going to share and it's not going to giving me that option.
Do you actually have the document open?
I did until you asked me to close it, and now she be gone.
If you try opening it and then share screen down below.
Okay. Okay, I'm very sorry, guys. I practiced this and it worked before.
Start sharing when someone else is
It says I'm screen sharing and you can't see it?
No, just all the documents.
Let me see if there's new share.
Lori, how many windows do you have open?
I only have this and this. I closed everything else.
I have access to all those same documents. If they're all on the web, I could do it.
They're not all exactly. Go ahead and see if you can screen share the agenda, because I don't understand. It's showing up on my screen.
I don't have the
Try
rights
folding
to do
up,
that.
you know, the PDF window. Just fold that one up too. Just close that one and see if the other one becomes dominant.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Cheryl?
I don't have rights because I also am not a co-host.
Okay. Ray, can you make Cheryl a co-host until I can figure out?
He may not be able to do that. I'm not sure. We can try.
Okay.
Cheryl.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I figured it out. I think.
Okay, okay.
Okay, let me try it now.
This is your last chance.
Okay.
Nope. Let me try.
Okay.
No, it just changed my settings. Hold on to screen sharing has stopped as the shared window is closed. Okay. Well, this is really frustrating.
Okay. Cheryl, let me make.
Yeah, I can do it. Hold on. I just got to get to
what about just sharing one document at a time?
I am trying to.
That's all she's trying to do. Okay.
Right now, the whole Zoom meeting has disappeared from my screen.
Hold on. Okay, I just got to get to the right. Share. How's that? Now I see the agenda. What you all see?
Did you Cheryl? Is that you sharing?
That's
the screen?
me. Yes, that's me.
There it is.
Okay.
Cheryl, do me a favor. Close that for 1 second. Okay.
Done.
Okay, and let me try one more time because I changed the settings. All panelists, who can share, only host. No, Who can share? All panelists. All right, I don't know why it's not working, and I have other, I'm going to email you another document that's going to need to be right after this one.
Okay.
So,
I see a big zoom
I
on.
don't know what
screen.
that's Lori still.
yeah, no, that was still me trying to,
Okay, I'm gonna stop your screen share. Sorry.
okay, go ahead, no problem. I'm wasting time, I'm very sorry.
Okay. All right, so we're going to call this meeting to order, and
We have to take roll call.
Sharon, Cheryl, can you take a roll call, please? Pardon me? Who's speaking?
I did. Present.
Let me call. I don't know who that was because I wasn't calling names yet.
Yeah, let Cheryl.
Okay, here I go. Rock
Which one?
Ashfield.
Do we have more than one Rock?
Here.
You guys have to unmute yourselves.
Armando.
I don't care my vote.
Okay, each person needs to unmute just to acknowledge them and then go back on mute.
Think of it as picking up the microphone and then putting it back down.
Well, we know is Armand. Now I'm having issues with my.
Model's right here.
Yay. Okay. John Barbera.
Unmute yourself, John, here.
I'm here.
Monica Brandenburg, not at the moment. Mary Chan.
I'm here online.
Yay. Ron D'Angelo.
Presence.
John DeMeglio.
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Dan
here.
Dixon. Oh, Mr. Dixon.
He needs to unmute.
This is a test.
Unmute, Dan.
You can use the space bar to temporarily unmute yourself. Think of it like the talk button on a microphone.
Present.
Awesome. Cynthia Gagne.
Here.
Christian Guzman. Not yet. Okay. Melanie, I forgot Christian on your vote roster, so don't do like I do and forgot him. Gwen Henry.
Present.
Lori Jacobs.
Here.
Melanie.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
Sophia. Not at the moment. Steve resigned. And Chris Valle.
Present.
Right. I just didn't see the cursor.
You have quorum.
Okay, we have new officers that we have to vote in.
Cheryl, I just emailed that document for the officers to you, if you can
could
pull it
see
up.
Thank you.
You could see the 5 officers or positions that we're going to be voting for. Diana?
Ray, can you give Cheryl 1 second to pull it up on the screen, the duties and responsibilities of each officer?
Yeah, she can, but I'm just saying, I'm just kind of making the announcement that Diana will run the first one. And then the newly elected person will run the rest.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Okay, so Diana, would you like to run that first one?
Hey,
There you are.
muted. I forgot to unmute myself. Okay, yeah, thank you, Ray. So it's my pleasure to run the election for the office of president. I do have a problem though before we start here, which is I can't see the participants part of the view options, exit full screen. Let's try this. Okay, okay, now we can go. So the first office and the one that I'm going to run is the office of president. You know, all of our officers serve for 1 year and then we have new elections. So we're going to be taking nominations for the office of president. The president's responsibilities are to solicit items, prepare the agenda, preside at all meetings, create committees and appoint chairs with the concurrence of the board, act as spokesperson and representative of the board, receive all communications and present them promptly to the board, determine what items should be posted on the Northwest website, or that president can delegate that responsibility to another officer, and enforce the bylaws. So those are the duties of the president. So I will open the floor for nominations. You can nominate yourself or you can nominate somebody else. Only the members of the board can make nominations. So if you wish to nominate someone or you wish to nominate yourself, at this time you can raise your hand.
Right here. I nominate Ray.
Wait a minute, I haven't seen a hand go up.
I had right here been my hand.
He raised his physical hand.
Okay, people are able to unmute themselves and they're not really supposed to do that until they're called on, please.
Okay, here's my hand.
I don't see the raised hand.
The problem is we can't look at the screen and also do that. You have
Armando, you need
raise
to
your hand.
You need to like put the cursor over your name, and then where it says more, and you have or I'm sorry, on the bottom you can raise your hand on the computer.
Well, it's Armando, because I didn't know who it was. So we'll just take it that Armando has nominated Ray.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay,
Yes.
Ray, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
You don't need a second?
No, not
Okay.
for this. Does anybody else want to nominate either themselves or somebody else?
We should mention which office it's for.
This is for president. Okay, I don't see any raised hands. Does anybody else see any raised hands?
No.
Okay, if there are no raised hands, then the nominations are closed for president. So at this point, it's open for anyone that wants to make a comment prior to our actually having an election for the president. So if you want to make a comment and you are on the board, you need to raise your virtual hand again. If you are in the room via Zoom on the computer, you can use the raised hand function. And if you are at home on the telephone, then you need to press *9.
Okay. Chris,
So
looks like
Christian
he-
has raised his hand. So whoever's controlling it, if you could give Christian the floor.
I just did.
I would just like, in anticipation of Ray's election, to thank him for the service he's already given the board and the community, and to acknowledge the scope and depth of the work that goes into being president of this thing. It's intimidating, to say the least, and I appreciate how well he's done it, and that he's done it all. So thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Are there any other comments before we take the vote?
There's no other raised hands, Diana.
Okay, at this point then I'd ask Cheryl to call roll for the nomination of Ray as president for the next year.
Brock Ashfield,
Yes.
Armando,
Yes.
John Barbera,
Yes.
Mary Chan,
You have to unmute yourself, Mary.
Yes.
Brian D'Angelo,
Yes.
John DeMaglio,
Abstain.
Dan Dixon,
Yes.
Cynthia Gagne,
Unmute yourself, Cynthia.
Moving, I couldn't hear you. Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
no Sophia, Christian,
Yes.
Chris, because we also now have a Christian, and still no sign of Christian Guzman. So
He's excused tonight.
oh, that would be good to know. Thank you. Okay. Motion carries. Ray is new president again. Yay.
What's
Yay.
the vote, Cheryl? Need to announce the
Hold on.
vote.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 yes, 1 abstention.
Great. Congratulations, Ray. You have another year to continue to lead, and I will turn this meeting back over to you.
Thank you, Diana. And I don't know if this is a blessing or something else, but thanks a lot for your confidence, guys. I appreciate it. And I will continue to do the best job I can. So thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the office of the Vice President. And the Vice President performs the duties of President in the absence of the President or when asked to do so by the President. Assist the President in deciding what issues or problems may require a special or emergency meeting and coordinate work of committees and tracks items for the interest of the council. So I see Melanie's hand being raised. So anyone who wants to make a nomination or nominate themselves, please go ahead. Melanie?
I nominate Lori.
Lori's been nominated. Okay. Anyone else? Any other nominations? Okay, I am seeing no other hands being raised. So would there be anyone on the board who would like to make any comment about Lori's nomination? I see Chris. Chris?
Unmute yourself, sir.
Lori, thanks for your help with doing all this Zoom thing. I know you've put a lot of effort into it.
Everything I said about Ray goes at least as much for Lori. I wouldn't be here. I mean, I would be in my own basement if it wasn't for her, but not this meeting. So thank you.
Thank you.
I can't raise my hand on here, so.
Did you hear me, Lori?
Who is that?
I think
Gwen?
Gwen was next, and then Melanie would be after that. Gwen?
Yes, like Ray, I would like to also say Chris is spot on. Lori, you've done a wonderful job this last year, and you've really been detail oriented, and it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Melanie, you're next.
Yeah, Lori, Ray, and also Lori, they're good leaders. They set an example, and I really think, you know, working as a team with Lori on many aspects this year, her leadership and her ability to be able to work together, I truly treasure, and I think it really helps me grow too, seeing a model person as she is.
Thank you, Melanie. Any other comments? Okay, seeing, what's that? I see you pointing, Gwen. I don't know what you're saying.
John was waving.
John?
Yes.
Okay, because I only, okay, just so that you know, maybe it's the same way with you, but I only see like 5 people on the screen there at one
Okay,
shot.
not a problem. Anyway, I just want to say, you know, yes, Lori does a great job for this, you know, and if I can put up with her as a neighbor, I can put up with her for one more year. But she's taught me a lot since I've been doing this. I've learned so much from her. She's very knowledgeable, and we're grateful to have her. That's it.
Thank you, John. Okay, anyone else? I don't see any hands raised.
Cynthia raised her hand.
Okay. Don't forget to raise your hand so because it pops up on the bottom of my screen. Cynthia, your turn.
I talked earlier, but I think I was on mute. I was telling Lori, thanks for all her help. I know she's really worked hard getting this Zoom going. I know it's kind of a pain because everybody has different issues trying to get on and work it. And she's doing like 1,000 things at one time. So good job. And Ray's going to be now the Zoom president pretty soon.
Yeah. Thank you, Cynthia. I see Dan's hand raised. Dan Dixon. Don't forget to unmute yourself.
Wrong time to raise my hand, except I agree with everything that has been said. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Anyone else? Okay, so with that said, let's have Cheryl, can you run the roll call?
Certainly. Rock,
Yes.
Armando,
Yes.
John Barbera,
Can't hear you, John.
Yes.
There you
Mary
go.
Chan,
Yes.
Brian DeAngelo,
Yes.
John DeMeglio,
Abstain.
Dan Dixon,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes, thank you.
Melanie,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris Valle.
Yes.
12 yes, 1 abstention.
Okay.
Cheryl,
Yes?
can you, it says I'm locked on your screen. Is that true? This is Dan.
On
Okay.
my screen?
I can't
Okay,
get
you're
back
on-
to
you're on-
the home page.
Yeah, you're unraised. Is that what you were concerned about? Your hand was showing raised, Dan?
No, he's saying you can't see something.
Oh, you can't see? Okay.
I can't see the pictures of your lovely faces.
Oh,
That's a setting for you on your side.
yeah.
Do you have someplace that says participants down at the bottom of the screen, Mr. Dixon?
Yeah, I clicked it.
Okay, I don't know what happened to your video. And
We
on
can still
video,
see you.
yeah, we see you, so be careful.
Yeah,
it might be a computer setting.
I'm sure
It's a
opera-
Zoom setting.
I'm sure it's operator error. Thank you very much. I'll try
Okay.
not to trouble you too much.
Okay, so we're gonna now go to the Office of Treasurer. And the treasurer is responsible for all funds belonging to the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council, receives and disperses all Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council funds, maintains the books of accounts as prescribed by the department, and provides monthly financial reports to the board as required. Maintains the portal for submissions of all payments and submits all payments, events, and NPGs for approval to the city clerk. Maintains all vote counts for all spending on vote count sheets. Maintains all records online and physically in files. Responsible for being the credit card holder. And finally, requires 2-hour financial officer training in addition to standard funding training. Okay, with that, we will open up for nominations. Any nominations for treasurer?
Melanie.
Okay, that sounds like John Barbera.
It is. Yes, it is.
For Melanie, okay. Any others?
Melanie.
Okay, that sounds like a second vote for Melanie. I didn't see who said that, but.
That was Armando.
Was it? Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. Seeing no other or hearing no other nominations, we can now move on to the comments. Would anyone like to make a comment on behalf of Melanie?
I don't have a hand to raise icon, so.
Okay, go ahead, Gwen.
I can't imagine anybody anywhere as transparent, thorough, and detail-oriented again as Melanie. She's been exceptional, been on everybody, making sure everything is, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Can't imagine anybody better.
Thank you, Gwen. I see Armando's hand raised. Armando?
Yes, she did a hell of a job all last year, and I know she'll do a hell of a job the coming year.
Thank you. Okay, I see.
I'm not able to raise my hand either for some reason, Ray.
Okay, I see 4 participants' hands raised. So I don't know who they are because they're not identified. So
Yeah, they are on my screen. So
okay, okay, you want to call them?
sure. So I'm going to go first, though.
Okay.
So let me say this about Melanie. You just don't want to mess with Melanie. She is so resourceful. If there's something that needs to be solved, she's relentless in finding the answers. But more importantly, she protects us. She does all the research, and sometimes she's not, everybody's favorite because she has to give us the bad news of what's required for everything. And without her doing that diligent work, we'd have a lot more things rejected. But she's built a very strong relationship with the city clerk, which has been really an important relationship in us being able to get things approved on a timely manner. So I'm grateful to be working alongside her. Now I can call on first hand shown up is Chris Valle.
Yeah, we'd just like to recognize and thank Melanie for doing one of the more difficult, otherwise thankless and like fraught, complicated functions that we need done. And having had just a little taste of that, I really got to say, she's not just doing a good job; she's doing a great job. And anybody would be lucky to have a treasurer like this.
Thank you, Chris. Next is Rock. If you unmute yourself, please.
I wanted to echo those sentiments as well, because there's a lot of work there, and I know she works very hard. But I did want to ask this one question. Where's the food today?
It's getting delivered soon.
Hey, Rock, if you just walk to your refrigerator, it's neatly packed in there in a baggie.
Okay, thank you, Rock. Next, we have Dan Dixon.
I marvel at all of our officers and the work they do for our community and for our board. And the only problems that I'm aware of ever in neighborhood councils involved malfeasance by 4 or 5 different treasurers on neighborhood councils. It's a pleasure to go to sleep at night knowing that would never happen here in Northwest, thanks to the diligence and excellence of Melanie Lebrec. Thank you.
Thank you. Armando, did you want to speak?
No, I'm good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Ray, that is all of the raised hands.
Okay. So with no other comments, Cheryl, could you run the vote count?
Certainly. Rock.
Yes.
Armando.
Yes.
John
Yes.
Barbera.
Yes.
Mary Chan.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
John DeMeglio.
Yes.
No abstain, you tricked me. Dan.
Yes.
Cynthia.
Yes.
Gwen.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Melanie.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Thank you. Same. So it's 13 yes.
Okay. Secretary. I don't see the secretary.
It was, Ray, it was above treasurer.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, we're going to be looking for nominations for secretary, and the secretary acts for the president in the event that both the president and vice president are absent, responsible for ensuring that all minutes and records of the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council are kept and that all notices are posted in accordance with the bylaws and as required by the bylaw with the assistance of the outreach committee. Monitors the actions of the board to be sure they are implemented, including all correspondence, and picks up the board mail weekly and distributes the mail appropriately in a timely manner. So we will now take nominations for secretary.
We have Armando's hand up first.
Yes. I'd like to nominate Cheryl.
Cheryl. Cheryl's not on our board.
No, who's been our secretary?
Cynthia.
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 There you
I
go.
got these names wrong. Cynthia. I'd like to nominate Cynthia.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, your hand is up. Unmute yourself.
Well, Armando stole my thunder with the wrong name, but that's all right. When I spoke of all of our officers, I meant all of our officers being hardworking, diligent, and willing to stay in for the long haul. I agree with Armando's nomination of Cynthia Gagne.
There's no more hands
Any
up.
other?
No more hands up, Ray.
No hands? Okay. All right. Now let me ask that Cheryl, would you like to take the vote count, please?
Absolutely. Rock,
Yes.
Armando,
Yes, yes.
John Barbera,
Yes.
Mary,
Unmute yourself, Mary.
You might have said
I'll come back to Mary.
Come back to her, yeah.
Yeah. Braun,
Yes.
John DeMeglio,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes. Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Mary Chan,
Mary, can you try again to unmute yourself?
I see her screen. It looks like she might be away.
Okay, I'll just say out.
Maybe she can just give us a thumbs up.
I can't see. I'm in the same boat as Dan. I
Oh,
touched
she's not
something
there
wrong.
anymore.
She's not there. She's not there.
Oh, she's walked away from her desk.
Okay, so we'll say she's out, which
Yeah,
means that
right,
it's 12 yes, 1 out.
Okay.
Cheryl, can you scroll up on that document, please?
In
We
a
need-
minute, I'm writing down the votes.
We need to do second signer too.
That's what's next. Go ahead.
Okay, so finally, we're going to be doing, sorry, not finally, but our next office here will be for a second signer. The second signer is the backup person for treasurer and co-signs on the vote counts. And also requires 2-hour financial officer training in addition to the standard funding training. So
This is not on the agenda.
I know it was. I'm
Okay.
sorry. It was added last minute, Cheryl.
No problem. I mean, it's fine. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I had.
No,
noticed
you're
it.
okay.
Second signer.
We have Melanie's hand up.
Yeah, I nominate Lori to this because she's fully trained already and good through the year and can step right in and do this.
Okay, Lori? Been
Cynthia,
nominated.
there's
Second it?
no other hands up at this time.
Cynthia does have her hand
I
raised.
was going to second it. Are we to second it for her position?
No, we don't need seconds.
Okay.
Okay, any other nominations? Okay, hearing no other nominations. Any comments? Does anyone like to make a comment on this?
Nobody's
Okay,
hands
I'm not
raised.
seeing any hands raised. Are you seeing any? Lori?
No.
Okay. All right. Cheryl, would you like to take the vote count?
Rock,
Yes.
Armando,
Yes.
John Barbera.
Yes.
We'll try Mary Chan. Still out.
Yes.
No, Mary's
Oh, there
back.
she is. She's back.
Yes, sorry. I wanted
Okay.
to vote yes for Cynthia, just for the record.
Okay. Braun,
Yes.
John DeMeglio,
John DeMeglio?
He's not showing up on the screen right now.
Okay, we'll come back to him and then we'll count him out if nothing else. Dan,
Yes.
Cynthia,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
You betcha.
Melanie,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
John DeMeglio. Nope, we'll call him out for this vote.
And the final vote count
Oh,
for.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the next one.
11-1.
12 and 1 out. 12 yes, 1 out of the room.
Okay, and the final one would be the budget rep.
You're supposed to have 2.
Yeah, Melanie is one of them, right, Melanie?
Yes. Yes. Already one of them. We just
Yeah.
need one.
We
This
need
is
one
for
additional
the
one.
second budget rep.
And there's going to be a regional budget rep meeting coming up toward the end of June, if I'm correct, right?
Yes. It'll be a regional town hall and also where you vote for the region budget advocates.
Right. So open for nominations. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't read what the job was. Sorry about that. Let me read. With budget advocates solicit input from your neighborhood council and stakeholder priorities in areas and suggesting, and it's toward the end of, I'm seeing I don't know what that word is. What's after suggesting?
Can you scroll, Cheryl?
No, it's off.
There you go.
I have
there you go.
all the,
Thanks, Cheryl.
okay, suggesting ways to improve city services and efficiency, increase city income, and reduce costs in manner of all stakeholders. Sorry about that. Attend budget day and expressing issues of concern for their neighborhood council and stakeholders, voting for their region budget advocates. Communicating with budget advocate the needs of the neighborhood council and stakeholders and assisting when budget advocate can't be present to do a report for your neighborhood council. And finally, encouraging stakeholders to join the budget advocates on areas of their concern and expertise. So we'll take nominations. We need one person to fill this position. Any nominations?
I do not see any hands raised at this point.
Okay, I saw Melanie with.
Yeah. My panel's disappeared, so I'm raising my hand.
Okay. Go ahead.
Lori.
Lori, do you take the nomination?
I will happy to help Melanie on this role.
Okay, Lori. Any other nominations? I don't see any hands waving or. Okay. All right. Hearing no other nominations, would like to give people an opportunity to say anything about this particular.
Come on, let's just move on, Ray.
Lori.
They don't need to say anything.
Okay. Hearing no one saying anything, Cheryl, would you like to take the vote count, please?
Certainly. Rock?
Yes.
Armando?
Yes. Yes.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Mary? Mary?
Yes.
Okay, Braun?
Yes.
John DeMeglio? Still out. Dan Dixon?
Yes, and thank you, Lori.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Sure.
Melanie?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Dan, and then John DeMeglio one more time. Nope. Okay, then 12 yes, 1 out of the room.
Okay. Thank you. I think we can move on now. Okay, agenda item number 3, executive committee report. Real quickly, during these last few months with this COVID pandemic thing going on, the city allowed the president of each neighborhood council to make a donation of up to $5,000 of our funds to a cause that addressed COVID-19. And this was, we were able to do that without board approval because it was deemed emergency. So for those of you who don't know, you can see on the screen that we donated $2,500 to San Pedro Meals on Wheels and another $2,500 to the Harbor Interfaith Interim Housing Shelter. So there's where 5,000 went to those very worthy organizations. And something that's really important that if you haven't done it already, which I'm sure everyone has already, but just to remind you that it's really important to do your 2020 census. It's important. So the deadline has been extended to October 31st. So please do it if you haven't. But for those people you may know who may think that it's not that important, it really is. Maybe you can advocate for them to do this. So that takes care of that. Thank you all. Pardon me?
We're getting pictures of everyone now.
Yeah, and I apologize. I'm going to have to tinker with that. I've not had this issue before, and I know it's a setting, but I don't want to play with it now. And Lori wants to try and redo it for herself. So we're going to hopefully get that sorted out, and I'll figure it out at some point.
Okay, I got instructions from somebody right now. So I was going to try it one more time.
Nope.
We still just see your file, your Explorer file.
Okay, Lee had texted me to actually open the document on my screen and then do share screen, which I am
Which is what
doing.
I do, by the way.
Yeah, and so I'm so frustrated.
Are you opening the individual document and then sharing the screen afterwards, Lori?
That's what Lee told me to do.
Okay.
So, all right. I just worked so hard to get all these documents ready. I'm just frustrated.
Well, on the bright side, I have them all now.
Can I make a suggestion? When you did touch and click on the PDF, it flashed for a moment. So maybe doing that addition. Oh,
that's me. That's me.
Okay.
All right. I just thought I'd try again. We need to get this meeting moving. So my apologies.
All right. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 4. It's our public officials report. Do we have any public officials? And I spied that Joanna Rodriguez is here from the mayor's office. Joanna, would you like to say something? And I see some other hands raised.
Joanna, you can unmute yourself now.
Hello?
Yep, there you are.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Usually I can't make it to the meetings because Mondays I have staff meetings and we usually don't end until like around this time. And it's already when it's almost 6 or 7 o'clock. So I'm so happy we're doing this Zoom. Hopefully, yeah, I'm loving this because that means I'm able to come and give you guys an update instead of just emailing. So just really quickly, I'm just gonna jump right in, and then I'll open it up for questions. As you guys all know, we're living in unprecedented times with several different crises, with the public health crisis, a civil unrest crisis, and also an economic crisis. So it's been really just an unprecedented time for not just the city or the state, but nationwide. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of what's been happening. So I'll just start off with some of the, the curfews, things around the protests that I'm pretty sure many of you guys are aware of. So in terms of the protests and the curfews, last week the mayor lifted the curfew, so there is no longer a curfew in the city of LA nor the county of LA. So I'm happy to just report that. just a little bit of background. Last week, the mayor had issued a temporary citywide curfew for a couple of days that stretched from like last Saturday until Wednesday night. And this was really just to prevent small groups of people from turning peaceful demonstrations into really just an opportunity for other people to join these demonstrations and put others in harm's way, destroy property, or even start fires. So that's one of the reasons that the mayor made the difficult decision of putting a curfew in place. But I have been getting some questions from like San Pedro, different parts of the harbor, and I just about the curfew itself. And I do want to just reiterate that the curfew was not meant to silence anyone's voices, but it was really just to keep everyone safe. And we as a city are committed just to protecting the right of all people to make their voices heard. So moving along in terms of like the National Guard, Governor Newsom declared a state of emergency in the city and the county last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but the week before. So as you guys all know or have heard, we do have the National Guard in the city of LA. There actually will be departing this evening with a small number that will be stationed nearby until June 10th. So if I get any updates on that, or if anything does change, I'll make sure to update the board so they can share that information with you all. But really their role is to provide security for for the area and ensure that the city is able to continue services like trash pickup, if you call PD, LAPD, that they are answering the phone. So we just want to make sure that we're able to continue those type of services, and also just protect businesses and prevent looting from happening. So that's their role, and I think it's important that everyone knows what their role is and will be through June 10th. I have been getting some questions about immigration. There has been some rumors that the National Guard was here to enforce some immigration enforcement, and that's not the case. They're not here. The city of LA is not coordinating with them, nor ICE. And they're just here to make sure that our streets are safe. In terms of just, I do want to just give you guys some information about small business recovery in case you or someone that has a business. Many of the businesses impacted by the destruction of the last, the protests, if you know someone, or again, if you were a victim, the city is here to help. And the Department of Building and Safety is conducting safety assessments for buildings free of charge, and that's to anyone that requested. So anyone that has been impacted because of the demonstrations, please let them know that they should reach out to the city to get an assessment by the city free of charge. And also we will be waiving the certified construction and demolition hauler requirements, so businesses don't have to pay for to have debris removed. And then I also wanted to touch on just COVID-19 really briefly. I think there was we had a peaceful protest this past weekend in San Pedro. It was a wonderful protest. Beautiful. I mean, I want to say we had several hundred people that joined. I was there myself, the council member and his staff, as well as other representatives, and very peaceful. Happy to report that. And the reason I bring that up is because there were some people that were wearing face coverings, and there were some that weren't. So I just want to remind people, we're still under a public health crisis. We still have COVID-19 is very much alive, and it's very, very important that if you are participating in these demonstrations, that you go and take a test. So again, is to protect others, not just for yourself, but to protect others. So if you're planning to join one, or if you have, you know, the mayor is asking that everyone wears a face covering, that you practice physical distancing wherever possible, and to get tested. We did have some testing sites that were closed because many of our sites are run by LAFD, the fire department. So some of them were closed, but beginning Friday, all 26 city and county testing sites will be open. So as of today, now until Thursday, we do have some sites. We have the Dodger Stadium site, and they're doing 6,000 tests every single day. And we also have 4 other sites, one in the east side, South LA. Can't remember the third one, but the fourth one is in Watts and CD15. So please, 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 if you know someone, it's important that we, you know, all of us get tested. Again, these are free of charge. You don't have to have a symptom to get these tests. And that's one of the beautiful things about our city, is that, you know, we were one of the first cities to offer free testing for anyone with or without symptoms. So please share, spread the word. One of my favorite pages is the Public Health Department's website, just because it gives you a lot of really good information up to date on like COVID-19. I'm happy to give you guys just a little quick overview. If you just bear with me really quick so I can find my,
Joanna? Yeah. Hi, Joanna, can you hear me? We're kind of tight on time, and I've got several hands raised that want to ask you questions. So I'm thinking that might be a better use of our time.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so
and then I'm just gonna end it with, you know, please go to to the Public Health Department if you want to get up to date. I do send a couple of emails during the week to the board of all the neighborhood councils. So if you guys could do me a favor to share with the group. And then really quickly on the budget. The city's general operating budget for the fiscal year 2021 calls for $10.3 billion in total spending, and that includes from capital improvements to operating costs for our, of the different departments and pensions and benefits. I do want to just make it clear that the budget allocates out of that $10.53 billion, $1.8 billion it gets allocated to the police department, and that's about 17.6% of our city spending. So the mayor did announce last week that he was going to make a slate, some changes and commitments to build our historic reforms to the police department. And in the coming weeks, it will be engaged in a robust discussion with the city council and community stakeholders to direct hundreds of billions of dollars in investments to our Black communities and others who have been left behind. So I'm hoping that I'll have more information. I know we're getting brief either this Friday or early next week. So I'm hoping that by our next neighborhood council meeting, I'll be able to call in and give you guys an updated information on that. So. Yes, I'll take questions now.
Thank you, Joanna. And you can always, email things to me and I can distribute them to the board. The first hand that I saw waving at me was Gwen. If you want to unmute yourself, Gwen.
Hi, Joanna. You and I talked briefly around census training time. And of course, that's no longer happening, but nice to finally kind of meet you again. In regards to the testing, this is for active case where you might actually have it in your system and you're developing antibodies, or is this an antibody test as well?
Thank you for the question, Gwen. It was so good to finally meet you virtually. Yeah, so this test is just to test whether or not you have COVID-19. The county is taking the lead for testing for the antibodies. But yeah, the city is just taking a general test of your blood to determine whether or not you have COVID-19.
Okay, great, thank you. Next, I have Dan Dixon. If you want to unmute yourself, Dan.
Sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand about this. I'm still unable to see anything but the agenda page.
Okay, that's all we have on the screen is the agenda page.
But
Oh, you can't see any people.
no, yeah, I have no power to.
Ah, okay, well,
All right,
I'll
but
try to watch,
And I'm sorry.
try
Don't
to
worry.
watch for your friendly face, okay?
Don't worry about it.
Next I have Diana Nave. You raised your hand. You want to unmute yourself? Diana Nave?
Yeah, I had trouble unmuting myself.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Lori. And Dan, you might go up to the top. There's something called speaker view, and I think, or view options, something on the upper right-hand corner allowed me to get people and the document up at the same time. In any event, the reason I raised my hand is I did have a question for Joanna, and it related to what happened, I guess now it's been almost 2 weeks ago, and the violence and the looting. And I just wondered to what extent, I know some communities, there was like outside provocation going on, and I wondered to what extent that happened here in Los Angeles, if we know.
Are you saying, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I get I'm understanding the question. Is it whether or not people came out of outside the city boundaries?
Well, it was provocation to violence is what I did. Yeah, that really wasn't really the protesters, but there were some groups that came in that were promoting violence in some cities. And I don't know if that was true here or not. That's what I'm asking about.
No, definitely. I know, I mean, just alone here in Watts, we did have, which is in CD15, we had a couple of, we had a protest, about 80 people came in and had a peaceful protest in Watts, and I was there, and about 80 to 90% of those individuals were not from the community. So yes, we're definitely seeing people from outside that are coming in, and we're taking it very, very serious. And that's why, you know, I mentioned earlier, the mayor had to make that difficult call of, you know, of calling the national, well, again, it was the governor who issued the state of emergency, but who decided to have the National Guard in our city to help our first responders, you know, be able to address some of the looting. And again, the main thing for us is we want to make sure that we can continue having the services that we have in the city, and we want to make sure that things are peaceful. But at the moment, the mayor does feel like things have settled, have kind of dwindled a little. But that's why the National Guard at this moment are we have a big number that will be leaving, but some will be on standby in the nearby in case we do need it. But again, I know it was a very, very difficult call, and we will continue to monitor. I don't have a specific statistic to tell you. To give you and to say, hey, X amount of people that we arrested were from, you know, from outside. I can definitely get a little bit more information and have an update for you.
I guess I would just like to suggest that if the city does find that we had provocateurs, that there be some release of that information, because I think that's always important information to know. But then, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Next, Armando, your hand is up. If you would like to unmute yourself, please, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Diana, I have a question for you.
Armando, is it for me, Joanna?
Yes, yes. Okay. Several of my neighbors were concerned of why the mayor plans to take money away from the LAPD when LAPD is thinned out as can be, as it is, to protect this country, this city that we have right now. And Harbor Station is running at a minimum of officers because we can't get more in the budget for them. How can he possibly want to take away 150 million plus? It's ridiculous. You got to watch out for the taxpayers over here.
No, thank you for that question, Armando. I know he's engaging in a lot of conversations. And I'm happy. I mean, if it's something that you're interested in, my goal and my, my job as an area rep for the harbor is making sure that we are having people from different perspectives in this on this table, and and these conversations that the mayor is having. So if that's something that is very a topic of interest, that is something that you want to get involved with, please if you could email me, and I'm happy to make sure that again someone is providing that perspective, because it's important that we're not looking at just one perspective but different. So I will definitely share this. I have my staff meeting tomorrow, and I'll share that, share this, your concern with our team. But I know he's engaging in all these conversations, and he wants to make sure that the allocation of money, that it's it's going into the addressing the different needs and different things that are coming up. So if you are interested, please email me directly, but I'll definitely make sure to relay some of these concerns to our team tomorrow at my staff meeting.
Thank you, Joanna. Next, we have Mary Chan. Please unmute your mic.
Hi, Joanna. Hi, everyone. I have a question for the public. If you experience something that to the nature of racism, or maybe someone was yelling at you in public, which they shouldn't be because of the situation that's happening now, what do we do? Do we call the police, or we call 211 to report it? Because I feel like we have to make an incident report, even though it's not really documented. Can you please share with us? Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm so sorry, I didn't get your name.
Mary.
Mary. Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
Definitely. So there is, and I can send that information. I can send it after the meeting to Lori and to Ray. But there is a page, and I have to find that phone number. But there is a way that you can report a police officer if you do engage in any type of confrontation with the police department. You have the right to say, hey, I would like to speak to your superior, and then they will then come and then take those any complaints from that are any complaints there. So I know that's kind of like the protocol that you'll call supervisor, but there is a website that you can go to make an official report. So I'll get that information over to you, to both Ray and Lori, and they can send that information. But I think it's really important, especially for our community of color, where we're seeing an uptick, throughout the country, where a lot of people are basically, I would just say, standing up and saying, we're gonna make that decision and report. So I'll send that information right after the call or after the meeting today.
Joanna, thank you. That question probably would be better suited to ask our police department, but I appreciate your time. I appreciate your weekly calls. They're very informative, and we're going to move on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna.
Ray, I don't, other Octaviano's our other elected official that I see.
Right, and if there are others, please make yourself known. Octaviano, would you like to say something?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So if I break up, I apologize. The connection here at my house with the internet isn't the best, but it seems like I've been having some good luck tonight. So congratulations, folks, on your first virtual Neighborhood Council board meeting. You deserve a round of applause. I know you've worked very hard to make it happen. And Lori, I know you're having some difficulties tonight, and I'm offering my time to you to kind of troubleshoot whatever you're having issues with, especially the screen sharing. I know there's a lot of pre-settings that Ray and I and some of the board members try to work out before tonight. One of them very memorable at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday. So it was enjoyable to have my first cup of coffee that Saturday with some of the board members to practice using Zoom to prepare for your first virtual meeting. But on my end, it looks fantastic. It's going smoothly, and I hope you guys are having a good time using this tool that the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment purchased as a license for your use among 99 neighborhood councils. You're among the few that have ventured into a virtual environment to conduct your board business. So congratulations on that. That's a huge step forward to bringing your board meetings closer to the community, more accessible, more transparent, and hopefully more enjoyable since you're at the comfort of your home. So really quickly, because I know we're late in the night here, and I don't want my report to impact your time here. I wanted to give you some quick updates and announcements. There is a city council committee that works on policies that impact the neighborhood council system. That's the Health, Education, Neighborhoods, Parks, Arts, and River Committee. And we call it HENPAR for short. And that's a city council committee. One policy, or two policies in particular, that you should be aware of that this particular committee approved and recommended the city council to approve are: one, they redefined or refined the community interest stakeholder to strictly refer to an individual who is a member of or participant in a community organization that meets the following requirements. The organization must have continuously maintained a physical street address within the boundaries of the neighborhood council for not less than a year, and the organization must perform ongoing and verifiable activities and operations that confer some benefit on the community within the boundaries of the neighborhood council. Some examples of these organizations would be chambers of commerce, houses of worship or faith-based organizations, schools, educational institutions, or nonprofit organizations. This committee also, HENPAR also approved uniform minimum age for voting in an election and serving on a neighborhood council board, and established some guidelines for an optional youth board seat. Now, the vote for the established system-wide minimum age of 16 is to vote, and it's 18 to run for a board seat. So I know that impacts your board structure. The good news is that you don't have to do the legwork to present that to the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners to make the changes. We'll work with the City Attorney's Office and our staff to make those changes for you. But it is important to be aware that this is in the pipeline, that it will land in the City Council for review. Two more announcements. City Attorney's Office did have their first virtual ethics training about 2 Fridays ago. About 80 board members participated. It was a great success. They had a lot of questions. So people that did participate, board members that did participate, if you did the duration of the ethics training online, that qualified you to update your ethics training. That's a minimum of 2 hours. And I've had a few complaints that your certification hasn't been updated. I checked, you're right. And we were told it was going to get updated, but I think there were so many people that participated that they're trying to get it all updated through rosters. Second, the department hosted a few webinars online geared toward helping our neighborhood councils get acquainted with a new outreach tool, but most importantly, to get feedback on what the needs are for this year, and also in preparation for the elections in general for outreach. So if you participated, thank you. We did it regionally. We did about 6 so far. I think we have another 2 or 3 ready to go for next week, I believe. And hopefully you benefited from all the different answers and messaging that our general manager shared during these outreach virtual webinars. She has been attending all of them and personally answering a lot of these questions. So thank you to Raquel Beltran for that. And I won't list all the deadlines, just a reminder that there are city clerk funding deadlines looming. So if you have any questions on that, let me know. I know Melanie, thank you for being on top of it, as well as providing suggestions and feedback. And quick reminder, just help us out in promoting the US Census and also the Economic and Workforce Development Department resources for those that have lost their jobs lost hours that may be impacted personally and financially. So I know there's daily webinars that this particular department is hosting to meet with those that are underemployed or unemployed to help them connect with the resources, not just in the city level, but in different levels of government. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Octaviano. And we will have information about those employment opportunities you'll see in a presentation later on in our upcoming newsletter. I have Diana Naves hand raised. You want to unmute your mic, Diana?
Yes, I only raised my hand because Matt had his raised and you hadn't seen it.
I know I did see it, but I didn't. I'm doing board members first.
No, he had it raised before Octaviano even started speaking.
No, he raised it after Octaviano started, but I'll take care of it. Thanks, Diana. Matt, you can unmute your mic. Did you have a question for Octaviano?
Johanna's. I don't have anything to talk for Octaviano, but my hand was up for Johanna's. I don't know if she's still here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I looked at the menu when Joanna was done and I didn't see any hands raised under attendees, so my apologies. We've already actually moved on. Is it something that you maybe could email to her?
I guess so.
Okay, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, Ray, did you want to see if there's any other officials?
Do we have any other officials? Not seeing any or hearing any. Okay, Octaviano and Joanna, thank you very much for giving us your updates. We're going to move on to our budget advocate report. Melanie, do you have a report, quick report? Melanie?
Melanie, unmute your mic, please.
Sorry, I'm talking and I'm not unmuting. So on the 28th will be the virtual town hall for all stakeholders as well as board members to participate for our Region 12 town hall to talk about services and issues. It'll run probably about 30 minutes to an hour for that particular thing. And then afterwards, it will be for just budget reps that can vote on budget advocates for Region 12. And it's for us, it's going to be at like 4 o'clock on the 28th, but I'm going to have posted on our website all the flyer information.
Is that it?
Yep, and that's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, Melanie. I want to point out two things. One, you guys are all doing a really good job with learning to unmute your mics. It just takes a discipline and practice. And Cheryl, could you please note, it appears John DeMeglio left our meeting at 6:45. I will let you know if he appears back in, but if you could just note that for the minutes.
Will do, and thank you.
Okay, I think we're going to move on. Item number 5, first responders report. I think I said earlier that Dan was going to try to be on, but this is his first night off, so he's going to spend time with his family, and any information that he sends me will forward it along with the minutes and so on.
Mr. President, excuse me,
Yeah.
but Mary Chan has somehow disappeared from panelists and is now in attendees with her hand raised.
I just
I don't know what's going on. Mary? Mary, can you hear us?
Mary?
Hi, yeah, I was disconnected and then I came back and then I was here. I'm sorry.
Oh, Ray, can you move her back to panelist?
Okay, there you go.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't see any other hands raised.
Okay, so Melanie, do you have a CPAB report?
No, I don't, because it was the same time as the outreach whole thing that they had. It ran the same time as the neighborhood council outreach forum that I was on. But I do have some information to share just for info for everybody.
All right.
There's been a lot of fireworks going on in the area, and there was some information issued by LAPD that went out, and it says all fireworks are illegal in the city of Los Angeles that are not licensed, you know, by a pyrotech type person, you know, on display like for a city fireworks. As much as LAPD tries to address the issue every year, the city of LA remains in tactical alert. So LAPD resources are stretched thin and they have prioritized calls for service. If you have an actual address to where the fireworks are coming from or the identity of people selling them, please forward it to your LAPD senior lead officer so that they can do a follow-up at the residence. If you have a description of the individuals responsible, that's even better, but not necessary. You can also call the non-emergency number 1-877-ASK-LAPD, 1-877-275-5273 for fireworks. And that was issued by them. There has been a lot of fireworks going on. We heard a lot last night, a lot of M80 type things going off. And there's been reports that there are people driving around in cars and just like literally tossing them and setting them off, or walking around with backpacks and throwing them under cars. So everybody be aware and try and locate where they're coming from, and not put yourself at harm in identifying those people either, where you could be retaliated against or anything like that.
Thank you, Melanie, for that update. I need to remind our board members, I know what this always happens, we are running behind schedule. We do need to go through budget, planning and land use and some bylaw things. So just think about your questions and just, we want to be, I don't want to cut anybody off, just be concise. I don't see any hands raised right now.
Is her hand raised?
Oh, no, not anymore. Oh, Gwen, I'm sorry. Gwen has her hand raised.
Hi, in regards to Melanie's report, there was a fire over by Target. I actually was there and it just started right while I was there. In regards to the fireworks, palm trees are extremely flammable and there's many in our community. So that would be a good concern, is igniting a palm tree. They explode. So would urge our community to be responsible in regards to that.
Thank you. Looking at attendees too, I don't see any other hands raised, Mr. President.
All righty, we're moving on to public comment. Okay, remember, public comment, 2 minutes, and we'll go one time around. So I see there are 2 hands raised for some participants, and it looks like they are attendees. So Lori, would you like to call?
Sure. Vic Christensen, if you want to, I saw your hand first. Unmute your mic, please.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a quick update on the Science Center. We haven't had any more, advisory council meetings because of the pandemic and everything. But I was finally given a key to the gate. So if water is left on or something, I can take care of that. However, they did not give me a key to the buildings, so I can't take care of the lights. So I would suggest, as I have in the past, to call the LA School Police if anything like that comes up where lights are left on, or anything else for that matter. Their phone number is 213-625-6631, and they are open 24/7. And hopefully, if enough people, if things happen and enough people call them, maybe the powers that be will get a clue and get things fixed, so things like that don't happen anymore. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Hope you're safe and everything's good with you and your family. Next, I have somebody on here with the last 3 digits of 189 on their phone number. You can choose to identify yourself or just go ahead and speak.
That's me. I'm 7189 Alan Franz.
Oh, hi, Alan.
And hi, Lori. I would like to spend my 2 minutes addressing an issue that some of you, like Diana, are already aware of. We were unable to get it on the agenda for this month, but I wanted to give you folks a heads up. First, I'd like to thank and congratulate the officers for being reelected and all the board members for the time that you put in. I'm from the Development and Land Use Committee in the coastal area, and we have collaborated with Central and Northwest over the years in a number of ways. We are asking for your reconsideration of a development approval that actually all three of our neighborhood councils approved when it was first introduced. But upon review, we've found a number of issues, and just as we have helped Northwest in addressing Punta Vista, we would request reciprocation with regard to a couple of developments by the same developer on Pacific Avenue in the Pacific Corridor redevelopment plan area, which violate the Pacific Plan redevelopment plan, which violate the San Pedro specific plan, and various other laws which I don't have time to go into. The advocates for this plan are asking for a number of bonuses and incentives to allow density, which for the two developments would amount to 200 units in about half a block, but spread between two blocks and with grossly inadequate parking, particularly for the southernmost of these in the 2100 block of Pacific. The city's housing element calls for developments in neighborhoods that are livable and sustainable, with a scale and character that respect unique residential neighborhoods. And these two proposals, the projects, first of which has already been approved by the Planning Commission, but we're appealing, don't meet that standard. So
Alan,
we
I'm
hope
sorry,
to have the
you're
opportunity to address it.
Alan, your
Thank you.
time is up. Can you wrap up that thought?
I will just say thank you for the time, and I look forward to the opportunity in a future agenda to address it more fully. Thank you.
Thank you. That can be forwarded to the Planning and Land Use Committee, who probably already have this on their list. So let me see. I do not see any more hands up under attendees or participants.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on. We're not going to hit the consent calendar. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items on there. Approval of March 2020 minutes. B is to add Christian Guzman to the Youth and Outreach Committee. C is to add John Barbera to the Budget and Finance Committee. D, remove Bob Bryant and Cynthia Gagne from the Budget and Finance Committee. And for E, accept the board resignation from Steve Scrumbus. And finally, add Diana Nave as an authorized second signer on bylaws amendments application. Does anyone want to remove any of these consent calendar items?
Second that, or first it, motion?
No, just they want to remove an item out of the list here to consider on its own. None?
I don't see any hands up.
Yeah, I don't see any either. So I'll take a motion to.
So moved.
Dan Dixon
to accept the consent calendar.
And second.
Who second?
Gwen.
Gwen, second.
Could you guys say your name when you're seconding, or just to help Cheryl?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. So hearing that, Cheryl, would you like to take the roll or voting?
Rock?
Yes.
Armando?
Yes.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Mary Chan?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
I'm assuming John DeMeglio is still gone.
Oh
so
no,
Dan-
John DeMeglio shows back on the meeting at 7:30.
Oh, criminy. So John DeMeglio?
John, unmute your mic. There you go. No?
Yes, yes.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. So yes. Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
You missed Dan Dixon.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the whole John DeMeglio confusion. So Dan Dixon?
I wasn't confused by John. Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
That would make it 13, yes.
So sorry, I came in late.
Sophia's here.
Hello.
Sophia.
Hello, Sophia.
Oh, yay.
Hi.
Yes, and what you can vote on that. So what is your vote?
Yes,
And what time did you arrive?
at 7:30.
7:30 you were in, and so was John was back. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go on to committee reports. Budget and finance is up front. So Melanie, would you like to take the review?
Cheryl, can you pull up the MER for March and April?
Ooh, I didn't get that. Yeah, I will. Is it on the website? No, okay.
It is.
Okay, yeah.
They're
just give me a
combined.
sec.
All the budget and finance are combined into one document.
Yeah, just give me a minute. I'll get that.
They're on the website, Cheryl, all combined together.
Yep, I'm going. Combined documents. I see it. Okay. Hang on. There you go. Right? MER.
There we go.
Ooh, wrong one.
So this is going to be a combined MER for March because we didn't have a meeting, and then April. May was not available at all yet. They're a little slow right now at City Clerk because they're all working from home. So we didn't have the May one available. So we'll be doing 2 next month. But this is March. And then if she scrolls up, you can see April. These were all available early on the website that everybody could have reviewed before the meeting. And this is April's. So this is out of committee. So what I need is any discussion on these at all. Hearing no discussion, we'll call a roll call vote. So Rock?
Yes.
Armando?
Yes.
John Barbara?
Yes.
Mary? Mary? Is Mary gone?
She shows up.
Yes.
And there she is.
There she is.
Okay. Ron?
Yes.
No, I'm
Yes.
here.
Yes.
John DeMeglio?
Yes.
Dan Dixon?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Me, yes. And Chris?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. So the next one should be the budget attached to this. And this is the budget updated from March all the way to May, current right now. So if you scroll down to the bottom, whoops, not that one, not that one, not that one, up, 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 the bottom of the spreadsheet. There we go. It says here that right now we have $10,743.25 left in our account. And so what basically this has like the COVID money out of it and everything else that we've done. We removed all of the events that are not, that were canceled, like Music of the Sea. We removed the harbor table. We removed the Pride event's been canceled. The only thing that we got final confirmation that looks like it's going to happen in some shape or form is the Cabrillo fireworks. So those were paid out. Other than that, the funds were all returned that were left over for like the emergency prep and as well as pathways. So any discussion on this? Okay, call for the vote.
I see Gwen's hand.
Oh, is Gwen's hand up? Okay, Gwen.
Was there anything from the city clerk regarding the end of this particular fiscal year and what the rollover will be?
No. It's done the same way as last year when I turn in the final and do the final MER and the final cutoff of payment on the 15th and then the 20th for the credit card, that they will evaluate all the paid outs and what's out there, what we paid, and they will tell us what the rollover is, what's left. And then we have to do a second vote for a budget in about August.
So there's no word whether we'll be able to keep the
We
fund.
get to keep rollover, but we aren't going to have like the amount that we had last year. Yeah.
Well,
because once we pay Christina, once we pay all of our expenses that are extending, and if the proposals go through that are on the budget, on the agenda tonight, it will have this down to where it will be anywhere between $2,000 and $4,000 that we roll over.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it won't be as much this year. Any more discussion? Okay, so call for the vote. Rock?
Yes.
Armando?
Yes.
John Barbara?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
John DeMaglio?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Ray?
Yes.
And Chris?
Yes.
Okay, so the next form. So this is where we're getting interesting here. This is the new proposed budget for 2020-21. The city reduced us $10,000. So we're only getting $32,000 this year. So what I've been instructed through communication with the city clerk, and I sat and had a virtual meeting with her, is how to do these funds when we don't know what is coming and what we're looking, how long the virtual is, and when we're going to start meeting again, because as of right now, we don't have food, but we don't want to spend that money in case we do have food, and there are office expenses that we haven't included, and we don't want to spend that money if indeed we need it, if we start meeting in real time again, face to face. So what was recommended from her is to do our minute taker money, our virtual office money, and our audio money, and then call it administrative funds. And that way, as we need then the food and all that, we can just move it out of there and fill it in appropriately on the budget. Then go down. So then we have outreach. So we allocated here 1 outreach newsletter, 2 outreach newsletters. Then for events, well, we don't know if we're going to have events or what we're going to need. So we allocate $5,000 there to allocate for events or outreach needs that we might need at some point. With COVID, if eventually during this fiscal year goes away and we can start interacting with people, then we can utilize that money. Then this is an election year in 2021. So if indeed we meet in person in June 2021 when we have elections, then we can have money set aside for party at the polls. City clerk will run our elections, but they do not cover any of the money for, like, if we had some sort of event type stuff set up or anything like that at Peck Park to have the elections, if it's done physically. Okay, scroll down. More. There you go. So neighborhood purchase grants. we've allocated $3,000 for that. The $3,000 is basically what we can afford to do this year, unfortunately, due to COVID. The city council took away 10,000, which would have been a good portion of our neighborhood purpose grants. So scroll down, Cheryl. So that leaves us with 13,700 operations, 13,300 outreach, 2,000 elections, and 3,000 neighborhood purpose grants. That brings us to 32,000 of our budget this year. Now, mind you, it looks like we're going to have between $2,000 and $4,000 to roll over. With that being said, then it would bring us back up to like 36,000, hopefully. And we can decide in August what to do with the rollover money. So any discussion on this? And this is going to have a vote, first, a second, as well as a vote.
We have one hand. Gwen, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hi. So for the administrative, for the events, should they not happen, will they still be defined always as administrative, or can they be pulled out of that and then reapplied to another?
This budget can be revised month to month, always, depending on the need of the NC.
Thank you.
I do not see any other hands raised.
Can I motion?
Yes.
It's out of committee.
This particular thing needs a first and second put on it for the submitting to city clerk.
So I'm going to take Gwen and Dan. They
Yeah,
were
please say your names when you're making a motion and seconding.
Dan Dixon, so moved.
Thank you.
Actually, Gwen already did that, so I'm going to take Dan as the second.
Gwen first, Dan second.
Perfect.
Okay. Yes. And call for the vote. So Rock?
Yes.
Armando?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Favara? And Mary? Mary, are you there?
Missing in action again.
We'll come back to Mary. Ron?
Yes.
John DeMaglio?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. Dan Dixon?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Mary, you're a yes now? Okay. Cynthia?
Yes.
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Ray?
Yes.
And Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So next item is the newsletter.
Hold on a second, Cheryl. Can you put up Melanie's meeting minutes from Budget and Finance?
Yes, indeed.
Or meeting report?
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Wait, they're not in the top of
It
this?
was the first one at the top.
Yeah, I just realized, wait, hold on. There we go.
Okay. So the outreach requested $4,150 for a COVID-19 newsletter that will be for informational purposes for the neighborhood council that will share information. This is out of committee, so do I have any discussion?
Gwen Henry has her hand up. Go ahead,
Gwen?
Yeah, thank you. I consider this a really valuable way to communicate to our stakeholders.
Thank you. Dan Dixon? Unmute.
My question is, how timely is the information? Since
Melanie,
it's
can I
changed
address that
dramatically?
one?
Yeah, go
Please.
ahead.
Okay. That newsletter is, if you approve this, is ready to go to press this week. Okay. And Cheryl, I just emailed it to you. Okay.
Already pulled it up.
Okay. So if you want to see, this is a work of collaboration with Doug Epperhart from Coastal. They'll be doing the same thing. maybe you can make the screen a little smaller. Yeah. This is strictly COVID-19 resources, everything from, slow down, from finding a job, veteran information, immigration, testing, healthcare, everything that hopefully that will help people, masks, how to make their own hand sanitizer. And there's a section on virtual fun stuff you can do in the community, a lot of information on meals and food distribution. And just to let you know, the whole goal here was I tried to think about what do our stakeholders need right now? What can we do to help them? And there's people who are not online and don't have the computer savvy to navigate. So we included phone numbers wherever possible. So Dan, it's ready to go when we vote.
Thank you. In light of the fact that we're expecting, well, we seem to be expecting a second surge.
Right.
This makes sense. Thank you.
Gwen, you had another question?
Yes. Is there anything about, oh, God, now I forgot. I'm sorry. I'll get back to me. Goodness. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was additional information that I was hoping to be in there that wasn't informative. It's, darn it. I'll get back to me.
Okay, anybody else? If not, let's call for the vote. Rock?
Yes.
Armando? Armando?
Unmute yourself, sir.
Armando, unmute yourself.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
You're there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Bavara?
Yes.
Do you want me to help you get on?
Mary?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
John DeMaglio?
Yes.
Dan Dixon?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Yes.
Yes.
Gwen?
No, I remember the question now.
We're in
Lori?
the middle of a vote.
Lori? Lori? Your
Yes.
vote? Yes. Melanie, yes. Ray?
Yes.
And Chris?
Yes.
Okay, and that's all the budget and finance stuff.
Could I ask anyway?
Yeah, what's the question, Gwen?
If there's information on the virtual way that we're meeting in that newsletter as well.
Yes, there is in the very first paragraph.
Fantastic.
Maybe you can enlarge that, Cheryl, right where you are. It says, subscribe to our email to receive, I can't even receive, to receive updates. The online version of this newsletter contains active links. And so that will be available for people. So did that answer your question? I'm not sure.
No, what I meant was information that we are now doing Zoom meetings and how to join in.
No, this is strictly a newsletter having to do with COVID-19 resources. But however, is Doug Epperhart still on here? I think he dropped off. I think there's a section that mentions some of that, but I will make note of it and check with Doug. It's not, it can still be updated.
Thank you.
We can go back to the agenda.
Yeah, that's the end of budget and finance.
Yeah, and Doug is not listed any longer.
Right, I see he's gone.
Okay, planning and land use. Diana. Oh, Diana.
She's only going to be showing the first slides on those, Cheryl.
Just not that one. There's one on the, yes, that one. Just leave that one up for a minute. Okay, at our last planning and land use meeting, our first one that we did under this virtual, the main agenda item was Punta Vista. For those of you that were not around at the time that Punta Vista was approved, the approval of Punta Vista included a specific plan that set out the density requirements, design guidelines, landscaping, etc. for Punta Vista. And that's actually on our website if anyone ever wants to look at it. The entire project was divided into 7 sub-areas, one of which was the park and open space. The remaining 6 areas each have specific guidelines regarding the kind and amount of housing that can be built on them. So prior to doing any building, the plans must be reviewed for that sub-area of the proposed building to make sure that they are in compliance with the specific plan. So at this point in time, Punta Vista has submitted 2 things for our consideration. And 2 things that they've submitted to the city for review. The first one is the design for their entry gates and signage. And I guess I'm seeing this very small, which is hard, but there will be 2 entrances to Punta Vista. Much better. The northern entrance is the entrance across the street from Green Hills. And the southern entrance, which is the one shown here right now, is actually off of the road to Mary Starr. It's not directly off of Western. You turn onto that road and then you'll turn into the entranceway. And so both of the entrances will be gated for cars, but they'll be ungated. There will be no gates for pedestrians. So anybody can walk into the development. As you see at the sides there, you can see people walking in. There's no gates there. The residents will have transponders so that it'll be quick and relatively easy for them to get into the gates, but visitors will need to use a keypad to enter. The entrances are both fairly similar in that they have, it's hard to see it here, but down here, they have a rock wall, and then the gates are actually a kind of a brownish metal, kind of see-through. And then they have, and so that's pretty much the same in both sides, both entrances. The northern entrance will also have signs that will be backlit. So basically that's the entrances. And so there has to be a finding that this is in compliance with the specific plan, and the developer has asked for our support for that request to the planning department. And the committee unanimously recommended support, and that motion is before you tonight. But I'm going to present the second motion before we go back and vote on them in a minute. So the second one, if we can go to the next group of slides, the one you tried to put up a minute ago, Cheryl. Yes. Okay, sub-area 1. Sub-area 1 is the area that has single-family homes. It is all single-family homes. The builder for that area has been chosen, and the builder is D.R. Horton. You can just leave it on the picture, unless something comes up that we need to see another slide. So D.R. Horton is the builder, and they're the ones that presented to us and have the request in to us. Their plans are for 66 single-family detached homes. They are actually calling this sub-area, as you can see here, the estates at Punta Vista. So the whole thing's called Punta Vista, but this part of it, they're going to call the estates at Punta Vista. These 66 homes are actually fewer than what they are allowed under the specific plan. The specific plan actually allowed 69, but they decided to do 66. Interestingly, D.R. Horton has several brands of homes, and the ones that they're building here are what they call their Emerald brand, which is their high-end brand of homes. They have 4 architectural types, which are the ones that you see here. Each type will have 3 different sizes, and each type has a variety of different colors.
Somewhere it lists the names of the types. That's why I was scrolling, sorry.
Oh, yeah, there is names, but the sizes of the houses will range. The smallest one is just under 3,000 square feet and will have 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. There's a middle one, and then the highest the biggest one is almost 3,500 square feet, and it will have 5 bedrooms and 4 baths. All of the houses will have 2-car garages and the ability to park 2 more cars in their driveways. So each house can park 4 cars. In addition, there'll be 90 on-street parking spaces, which is more than the amount required by the specific plan. They're hoping to begin construction in July, and will start by building 2 model homes. And they're hoping that those 2 model homes will be completed by October. The remainder of the homes will be built in 10 phases, approximately 6 homes per phase. The phases will be staggered with about a month and a half to 2 months in between them. That's just the way they do their work, which was interesting. They anticipate that the first homes will be ready for sale in November, and that the sale prices would range from 1.3 to 1.4 million. The homes will be solar ready and gray water compliant. An issue at the time of the original approval is we tried to get the city to mandate that they have solar, and the city was unwilling to do that. So they are not required to do anything more than be solar ready. They've requested the support of the neighborhood council for permit compliance to allow the development of the homes, and a permit adjustment because the topography is so uneven that some of the setbacks, just to make sense on the lots, need to be reduced, and some of the frontage needs to be adjusted. Or you would have one house that would actually face another street that would have its back to the street on which it was placed. So there's some adjustments, minor adjustments that they've requested. The committee again has recommended support of both of those. So now, Cheryl, maybe you can show the motions.
Hang on, I gotta switch screens and that's gonna be a party.
So
Okay,
the Planning and Land Use Committee has unanimously recommended. And so I'll start with the first motion as she's trying to find it. The first motion would be to request our support that the gates are, for their compliance review of the gates. So Ray, that's the first motion.
Okay.
are you seeing the motions?
No.
No motions are shown.
Criminy. All right, hold on. Keep going. I'll work on that.
So
When so moved?
these are out of committee?
They're out of committee, but moved, seconded, unanimously carried to committee. So we don't need a motion.
Okay, so
We have 2 hands raised.
any
Ray?
discussion? Any discussion, please?
Okay, so
And
the
you
first
add
hand,
can you add my name, Lauren?
okay, Ray, you can go first then.
Oh, okay. Diana, for the gates,
Yes.
the entryway is going toward is placed close to the public space, the park area, if you will, the open space, right?
Yeah, it's down. Yeah, it's down sort of a little kind of past that on the side. Yes.
Right. So the one thing I was noticing is that on the drawing you have people walking through into the property, which I guess because the public space should be open to the public.
Yes.
But my concern is, where are the people going to park to comply with ADA? For instance, if there's someone who is disabled and would like to enjoy the park, where do they park?
The parking is on the street in front of the, not inside the entry. The street itself that goes back to Mary Star.
Right.
That's where the parking is for the park.
So, but they have to go through the gate to get into it.
No,
Right?
No, they do not.
You drive through.
This is across the street. The park is across from the gates on the opposite side of the street.
Okay, I got you. All right.
The thing you're going to go through the gates for is that loop that you could take around, that walk. There's a loop, a walking path.
Yeah, I'm starting to remember the picture. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And the other thing is, my other question is, the amount of cars that they're allowing to park there. I'm wondering, going back historically, there were you know, real big issues about traffic and everything like that. So I'm seeing this first phase with up to 4 cars being allowed per
Right.
unit. That tells me that when this is all said and done, are we still going to be able to handle the traffic coming in and out of Punta Vista once it's
No, Ray, that was the $64,000 question. That's what got us to go from 23 units down to less than 700.
I remember, but even with the lesser amount, still it was a area for concern.
Right. It may still be an area of concern. It is beyond anything we can do at this point.
I'm sorry, Regalado, your time is up. If you'd like to wrap up your question with 5 seconds.
No, I'm through.
Okay.
I got the answers that I expected.
Okay, I've got several.
Dan has his hands up too.
Okay, I've got them all. Okay, so Dan, you want to go first?
Thank you. This is terrific in a way. Diana, if you going back over all this, I think it's a miracle that they have come up with a plan to allow 2 cars in each driveway. That's something that does not exist at where my daughter lives, near me. I think it's great. And if you're building 4 and 5 bedroom homes, you're anticipating, even though teenagers don't drive anymore, somebody will be driving. And it's great to get some of those cars off the street. 90 guest parking spaces for 60 homes is stunning as well. That's really great. So I'm very pleased about that. And I'm thrilled to know that public access into that loop is still part of the plan, because that was our dream. If we had to build this place, we wanted the public to be able to go out and see the view and recreate a little bit. So this is really good news as far as I'm concerned. And as far as building the gates and the monuments and all that, that's their decision. I'm glad to let them do whatever they want. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. You were under your 2 minutes. Next, I have Rock.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really impressed with the developer here. You know, as an overall developer that's doing the infrastructure, and there's so many different interfaces with Caltrans and other entities, and that's why other developers failed before. We had a meeting with them. I dropped by another time. The guy gave me a tour. We walked around everything. I think you'll really like the access egress. By the way, in the traffic study, they found more people were going northbound on Western than actually in. It was actually sort of interesting. In fact, that they have so much parking. Most of these projects, people complain there isn't enough parking. So this is a good thing. And the builder here, D.R. Horton, doing the high-end homes. I don't know if they'll ever get those prices, but that's their problem. I highly support this motion.
Thank you, Rock. Next, we have Gwen. Unmute your mic, please.
Well, I'm glad to see, just let me know if this is misinformation, but for the age of this project, I am pleased to see that there was some nod to adding solar ready and gray water to the development. But in regards to parking again, as the rest of the development is included, and those are rolled out, are they hinting at they will have similar type parking situations going on where they have as much cushion, or?
Each of the 6 sub areas may have a different builder, and it's up to each builder. And so each builder will be coming to us at the time that they're ready to present their plans and have their specific plans approved. So we can't answer that at this time, Gwen.
Okay, and with that, Rock mentioning Caltrans, that left-hand turn, my concern is, you know, should there be a party or anything like that? And with the funeral processions that come out from right across the street, I mean, what's your basic impression? I'm sure that that's come up in discussions.
Well, that was one of the things that we hammered on when we were talking about why we couldn't have 2,300 units there and what that would do to traffic. In fact, we had a photo that we submitted with our comments at the time that showed it happened to be a particularly big funeral procession, and people actually turning on the median to turn around because they were stuck behind a procession. It's a problem, but it's, again, beyond at this point anything that can be done about it.
Next TAM we have is John DeMeglio. John, unmute your mic, please.
Okay. My concern is that we took care of the entrances on Western, but we haven't heard anything or any changes on the east end, the entrance that they're using right now. And I think before we vote on something like this, I think it has to be addressed to see what we're going to do with that entrance, because it affects, and this is the main thing, that it affects the Northwest. It affects our area. And the people in that area have been complaining for a long time about that. And it still hasn't been addressed, and hasn't been addressed here, and it needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Don, I'm not sure I understand your question. Are you talking about the road to Mary Star?
Yes. The road from Taper to Mary Star, correct?
Yeah, okay. So the road, once this gets finally opened, well, I say open, that road should be, when Mary Star goes back to school, probably by then, all of that will be settled. There's a turnaround when the people turn in to the street that is going to Mary Star, which is going to be called Sundry, they told me, because they said, I'm tired of calling it the road to Mary Star. So when they turn in on the Sundry Road, when they drive down towards Mary Star, and that's the only entrance that students are going to be allowed to use to Mary Star, at the end of that road, there's a turnaround where they drop the students off. And that's the drop off, and then there's also an entrance to the parking lot. That's the way it's supposed to happen. And at that point in time, then they are no longer allowed to use Taper as the entrance for students to Mary Star. And that's all an agreement that was developed a long time ago.
Thank you, Diana. And that completes all the board members.
Can we get
I'm sorry, John, your 2 minutes are already up. No more board members have their hands up. However, under attendees, I have Matt. Go ahead and unmute your mic, Matt. Matt, are you there? There we go.
I'm here.
Okay.
I just want to. Yeah, can you mute or turn it down? Okay.
Yeah, John needs to mute his mic.
Hold on. Okay, hope that didn't count for my 2 minutes. But I just want to address that I don't agree with the gated community. I know it's already been set forward. And I like what Ray said, addressing that the 4 cars into the gate, that would cause a traffic problem. And Rock said there was a traffic study. How can you do a traffic study when you haven't tested the cars going in yet? So, I mean, I'm no professional on traffic studies, so I don't know. But it would be better without a gate. But that's up to the development. And Diana said that we can't change anything about it, but we can. We're supporting it. So
I'm sorry, Matt, you got muted by mistake. Please unmute your mic again. My bad. Matt?
Yep, I'm back.
I apologize.
But we can do a letter not supporting the gate and telling them that we would like either further back to allow for no traffic, which I'm positive will happen. And also, it's disappointing to hear that these houses are worth $1 million. I mean, at this time, we should have more affordable housing, and this is not making it affordable at all. I understand it's a more highly area. I mean, there's condos across the street, cemetery, but I guess it can make it still worth $1 million. But I would love to see if it was more affordable. So that's ending my comment. Thank you.
We have one more hand from attendees, and that would be Lee Williams. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hi guys, it's Lee Williams. I just wanted to say that although I applaud any new housing that gets built anywhere in San Pedro, we so desperately need it. I just wanted to point out the fact that when we push so hard against density and we push so hard against affordable housing here in San Pedro, this is what we get. And I just want to point out the fact that last year in 2019, we had 4 homes that sold for over 1.3. And this is a development of 66 homes that are being built in San Pedro that very clearly are not going to be suited and built for the citizens of San Pedro. So this is what happens when you fight against density. And I hope that this is a cautionary tale. We desperately need affordable housing. We need housing for our kids that are graduating from high school. We need housing for our kids that are graduating from college. It's very important that kids that are born and raised in San Pedro remain in San Pedro. And I feel like we're failing them when we shut down any new housing that would allow for them to remain here. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lee. You got just under the wire there. That's all the time we have for discussion if we're going to be able to cover the rest of our meeting agenda. So Ray, do you want to call for the vote?
Okay, so this is for the first item there.
Correct.
The gate area, right?
Right, it's kind of strange because whatever's in blue has nothing to do with that. It's just
Yeah, that was
something got superimposed. I don't know.
No. That's because those are my minutes, and I wasn't anticipating you wanting me to put those up. So you get what you get.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry about that.
So we're talking about the gate, right?
Right.
The motion for the gate. Okay.
Sorry.
Cheryl, would you like to take the vote count?
Yes. Rock?
Yes.
Armando?
Yes.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Mary?
Sure, yes.
Braun?
Yes, and I certainly appreciate what Lee had said.
John DeMaglio?
No.
Dan?
Abstain.
Cynthia? Is Cynthia still with us?
I do not see Cynthia.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute.
Okay,
There she is.
okay.
Abstain. Okay. Gwen?
Yes. Yes on the gate.
Lori?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Sophia?
Sorry,
Yes.
abstain.
Okay.
Abstain. Okay. Chris?
Yes.
Passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
What was
yes.
the vote count?
I'm counting 10 yes, 1 no, 3 abstentions.
Okay, the other motion has to do, and I want to go back and say this again. What they're looking at is whether or not what they're proposing complied with the permit, with the specific plan. The question on being a gated community is one we fought hard on because we didn't want it to be a gated community, but that was already decided and that's already in the zoning code, so to speak. I also want to point out that we're talking about, this is 66 units out of what is just under 700 units total. The other areas will probably be much denser. They're stacked housing. They are a variety of different housing types. So this is the one housing type that's really is very large, and the other ones will be much smaller and will be 3, I can't remember, some of them maybe 4 stories high. The next one,
There'll be condos, there'll be
Yeah.
townhomes, there'll be a whole different mix. This is just the high-end part.
Yeah. So this motion is, they've requested a project permit compliance review, and then they've requested adjustment that had to do with the setbacks and the facade zone requirements. And they were relatively minor adjustments that they had found necessary because of the geography of the land.
Okay, so out of committee again, so we'll go to discussion. I see there are some 2 hands
I thought we
raised.
just had discussion.
Pardon me?
I thought we just had discussion.
I don't think so. Did we?
This is the second motion.
This is, yeah.
Okay.
So with that, I see 3 hands, 1 round. 2 minutes each. Lori, you want to call?
Okay, Mr. Dixon, you're a go.
Diana, these are largely technical points, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and the committee found them to be within the spirit of the permits for the project?
Yes, they did.
Thank you.
Okay, Dan, way under time. Next, we have Rock.
Yeah, this is D.R. Horton, well-known builder. They're the ones who built the stuff on 18th and Mesa. So they're a pretty great contributor to the town of San Pedro. I'm actually very impressed with a number of these developers. So I approve the motion.
Okay, thank you very much, Rock. I thought I saw Chris. Did you? You must have lowered your hand.
Yeah, Dan pretty much covered. I just wanted to confirm that these were more or less technical changes, and that doesn't change the footprint of any parcel.
Okay. I don't see any other board member hands up. I see Matt under attendees. Matt, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I just wanted to add also that this is kind of side and side with the other motion. With COVID-19 right now, density is kind of the main problem that we're having. I know that Lee brought up that density is causing the high prices in housing, but also the realtors and the agents and anybody that's just kind of third wheeling in this, they're kind of affecting the pricing. So I just want to add that, and I think that that the density shouldn't play a factor in the pricing because the density is also causing COVID-19. So if I want to live in a COVID-19 building, and I'll move to a dense place. So thank you.
Can I just address that real quick? They will have their own sales force to sell it. So we really don't have anything to do with it, just FYI.
Okay, that completes, I think, the discussion. We're ready for the vote, Diana, or whoever's doing this.
Yep.
Cheryl?
Rock?
So just for clarity, we're under item 2, under planning and land use, and that's to consider support for the project compliance and request for project permit adjustments for Punta Vista. Cheryl, would you like to take the vote count?
Yes, please. Rock?
My earpiece just went out, but I say yes.
Good. Armando?
Yes.
John Barbera?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
John DeMeglio?
No.
Dan?
Yes.
Cynthia?
Unmute.
Writing notes. Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Sophia?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 13 yes, 1 no.
Thank you. The next area that Punta Vista plans to build, or the next builder that they've gotten, is going to be for what's called sub-area 3, and it's going to consist of detached single-family townhouses, 3 stories tall, organized around a motor court. And they anticipate being ready to present this to our committee in July or August. So we'll be hearing about that and getting that one back to you when it happens. Again, it will be a permit compliant, so it's pretty much just some technical adjustments that they're finding as they get into the building that sometimes didn't, 2 developers ago, what they got approved doesn't quite fit the landscape appropriately. We have 2 more meetings in June for the committee. We're kind of playing catch up here. The next meeting is going to be on Wednesday, July 17th. And you heard earlier a mention of the project at 13th and Pacific that we previously had approved. And since that time, a group of people have found that there appear to be some errors in the approval of that project. And so they have filed an appeal, and that appeal has been supported at both Coastal and Central, and they have asked for us to support that appeal. that will be on our agenda for discussion at our planning committee meeting on the 17th. The other project that was mentioned, the one at 21st and Pacific, our neighborhood council's never heard, the joint committee's never heard it. So sometime we may be looking at that project as well. But right now, we're just talking about the one at 13th and Pacific. And then the other thing, which is maybe probably more important to us because it's our neighborhood, is the proposed rebuild of the 7-Eleven store with the addition of gas bays. So that will be on our agenda for the 24th of June. Dan has graciously given up his meeting date so that we can consider that on June 24th. So that is the end of the planning committee report unless someone has questions. There's some more written in your, you've got all the notes. Hmm?
Diana?
Yes.
I believe you said first July 17th. Should that have been June?
June.
Okay.
June 17th and June 24th.
Thank you.
Mr. President, we have about 15 minutes left unless we extend the meeting to 9.
Let's see how far we can get out as quickly as we can here.
Sure.
If we're through with planning and land use, thank you, Diana. We haven't, Dan, I just want to confirm no community issues.
Well, a couple of remarks.
Okay.
Thank you. It'll be good to get back to the committee format, virtually or otherwise. We will be having an issues committee meeting in June, either the 23rd or the 25th. Matt and I had talked a little bit about it, and we'll be posting that agenda soon after I consult with the committee. An ongoing concern, or at least interest right now, is the potential lease/sale of property at the refueling property on North Gaffey. The Navy is busy working on that, and they have, what's happening right now is there was no interest in the original request for proposals, but there was interest in getting more information about what the potential buyer or lessor might be able to do with the property. So they have now put out a request for qualifications for people interested in it. And that's sort of running neck and neck with request for proposals, RFPs. The request for qualifications run through the end of this week, actually the 11th of June. They will then see what they've got and then issue the, I believe the RFPs can be submitted anytime now, and it will be through the end of the month. And I will try to clarify this for Diana and the board as to when the RFPs will actually be due. I will communicate with the Navy tomorrow and let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Under the Port Committee, Diana, might there be any updates on the PAIP?
Well, they had actually held up on the PAIP because the neighborhood councils weren't meeting, and and you and I had suggested, Ray, that now that we're meeting again, you might want to call and jingle them to see what's happening and say, hey, we're meeting, because they had allowed time, they wanted to allow time for us to respond.
Okay, great, thank you. Sustainability, I don't recall meetings. Gwen?
No meetings, but I've been monitoring the San Pedro community gardens. There was supposed to be a grand opening, and of course, with COVID, it was canceled. They have, last I heard, the irrigation was more than on schedule, and because of COVID, they actually were ahead of schedule. They had gotten behind, so there's that. The only other thing is I urge anyone to join the committee. I hope to have just a nominal meeting in June, just to get us back in gear, but that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Youth and outreach.
I will pass in the essence of time. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're down to elections and bylaws. Diana Braun.
Okay, I'm unmuted, yes. You may recall that the last board meeting in March, I reviewed all the proposed bylaw changes. I don't plan to review them again tonight, but I would answer any outstanding questions about them. After I discussed the proposed changes, Matt DeMiglio requested a change to the existing language related to the business seat. He was particularly concerned about the fact that someone who lived in Northwest and whose business was a member of the chamber could qualify for that seat. He expressed concerns that we were forcing people to become members of the chamber. I explained that many of the businesses that serve Northwest are not physically located in Northwest, and the intent was to expand the pool of potential applicants for that seat to include businesses frequented by our stakeholders. This was several years ago that we had added that language. At the time, we also tried to add language to the effect that if the businesses conducted substantial business within the boundaries of Northwest, they would be eligible. But the city attorney rejected that language. So then we were left with the two ways of qualifying for the business seat. So after that meeting, at the meeting, John and Matt tried to come up with an amendment, but the issue was tabled until this next meeting, which is tonight. So the board must adopt any desired changes in tonight's meeting. Tonight's meeting, we really have to adopt the bylaw changes, no matter what they are, because we're up against the deadline now. We're past the deadline really, but we will be able to submit them after tonight. So upon further consideration, the bylaws committee went back and saw some of the problem that was being raised and is recommending that the following language be added to the business seat. And it would say, or that the business is located in the zip code 90731 or 90732. That would expand the eligibility beyond the chamber, but still keep the chamber in there because of the fact that we've got a lot of the businesses that serve Northwest are actually in the RPV zip code, and the refinery, which was actually in our census tracts, is actually in the Wilmington zip code. So that's the reason to keep the chamber language and then add this additional language, which would open up on the 90731, 732. So if it was adopted, the language regarding the business seat would read, two voting stakeholders who own or work at a licensed business doing business within the boundaries of Northwest, or who reside within the boundaries of Northwest and own or work at a business that's a member of the chamber, or who reside within the boundaries and work or own at a business that's located in zip codes 90731 or 732. And then this language would also be reflected in the sections on documentation and attachment B. Additionally, subsequent to the bylaws committee meeting, Octaviano pointed out that we need to change the language in attachment B from the term factual basis stakeholder, which is the old language, to the new language that is being used, which is community interest stakeholder. So I have made that technical change in the version of the bylaws you have before you tonight. That's the version that was distributed. And then there's one more technical change that I caught after I distributed the bylaws and would recommend that you incorporate it. It's to the candidate documentation list for the business seat. That list includes the language that had been proposed for the business seat and rejected by the city attorney relating to conducting substantial businesses within the boundaries, and that language should be deleted. So, as a reminder, all bylaws must be approved by the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. The department only allows a window for submission of the changes periodically. It appears that that window right now is every 2 years. Any changes approved by the board tonight will be forwarded to Dunn. They are not effective until approved by Dunn and the city attorney and are not retroactive. And just so you know, it's not uncommon for Dunn to question changes or to require additional changes, including changes to language they previously told us we had to include. And they've come back and then changed their own language. In fact, as Octaviano stated earlier, the city council is currently considering a couple of changes that if they are approved, they would result in mandatory changes to our bylaws, and those would just be imposed by the department. We wouldn't even vote on them. They would just make those changes. Done can take a long time to review and approve changes. Based on past history, I would suspect that any of the changes proposed tonight or adopted tonight would not take effect until probably close to the 2021 election. So the motion from the committee would be that the board adopt the bylaws changes as presented and the technical corrections to the candidate documentation list for the business seat. To be clear, this is all of the changes presented in the written document, most of which we reviewed last meeting. Changes to our bylaws require a 2/3 roll call vote of members present.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you to your committee. This is a lot of grunt work. It's not really particularly fun, and so thank you very much. Okay, as far as the board, the first hand I have up is John DeMeglio. Go ahead and unmute your mic, sir.
Okay, just to state, we already have 90731 in our Northwest. So what you're creating is an avenue to where the Chamber of Commerce is going to take over our board, and that's what you're creating. It's not the board, it's not the business people, but it is the stakeholders in our area that needs to be represented, and you guys are not representing them, and that has to be looked at. This is not correct, and it never has been and never will be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members? Okay, I don't see any other hands raised. As far as attendees, Matt, go ahead and unmute your mic. I'll start the clock.
So I was at the meeting, I appeared, and I also gave my my opinion, because my opinion slightly changed. And it's only because I read all 99 neighborhood councils bylaws, and we're the one person standing out. Currently, there are 99 neighborhood councils in the city of Los Angeles. Of those 99 neighborhood councils, only one, us, allows for business seat to own or operate a business outside of its boundaries. Even Central and Coastal do not have this language in their bylaws. Now, I don't know where the Chamber of Commerce lies, whether it's Central or Coastal, but either way, none of them in San Pedro, which is separated, has this wording. So moving forward, I found 3 neighborhood councils that have Chamber of Commerce a part of their bylaws. Now, when I say this, it's still in their boundaries, and they also give specific rules, like Eagle Rock. Eagle Rock's neighborhood council is in their boundaries. So is Encino's, but Westwood neighborhood council is not. Now, with their neighborhood council, they have a seat where the Chamber of Commerce elects a person to be on their board. We're not doing that. Instead, we're widening as many people as possible, even the people in Palos Verdes, to be on our board. But they don't follow under City of Los Angeles rules, which is where the power of the neighborhood council comes from. So I don't know why we're going further than within our Northwest district. And I gave the wording already, so I'm not going to restate it, because I already know this amendment's going to lose anyway. Well, Diane's amendment's going to win, but if I was to give an amendment, it would lose. So, but during the meeting, I read it, they heard it, but they didn't agree with it. So I just wanted to make sure I was heard at this meeting too. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Diana, as far as I can tell, we can vote.
That's right.
Is it out of committee?
So it's out of committee. We've sounds like we've just had discussion on it. So I guess I can do this one of 3 ways.
You can just do all of it, Ray.
That was going to be one of my options. So yeah, and I'm kind of leaning that way. So why? Let's vote on the full body of the bylaws amendments. So Cheryl, would you call the vote count?
Yes. Rock?
Yes.
Armando?
Unmute Armando.
I'll come back to him. John Barbera?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
John DeMeglio,
No.
Dan,
Yes.
Cynthia.
Unmute, Cynthia.
No.
Gwen,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Can Sophia vote on
No.
this?
Can you hear Armando?
Marnda, what's your vote?
No.
Okay. Can Sophia, is Sophia?
This is not a financial, so I believe she can.
Okay, Sophia,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay, 3 no, 10 yes.
Motion passes.
Yes.
Diana, you have the vote count?
She can ask me if she needs it.
Okay, because she said she has to do a separate
Yeah,
vote.
I have to vote count.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
Standing rule.
The next item is the standing rules, which we don't have to do tonight if you want to put them over, Ray, but if we could get, I suspect you're gonna, it'd be easier to do it tonight than to put it over. Let me know.
Well, if, what time is, where are we at with the time? We're almost at time. So I'm going to ask permission if we can spend another 15 minutes on the meeting so we can finish our agenda. It looks we're pretty close to the end.
I second that.
I agree.
I'm good.
Good, good.
Yes.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
kind of hearing yes. So let's spend an extra 15 minutes to finish our agenda. So Diana, would you like to talk about the standing rules?
Standing rules. So in addition to the bylaws, we have the standing rules. The nice thing about the standing rules is that they do not require Dunn's approval. But standing rules must be consistent with the bylaws. They allow us to further elaborate on a particular topic, and they can be adopted by a simple majority. And unlike the bylaws changes, they are effective immediately upon adoption. So we have a number of proposed changes to the standing rules. The first one is a change to standing rule number 3, and it would add as a committee, the Committee on Homelessness. The second one is to standing rule number 4, which changes to whom committee reports are to be submitted. Currently, it had said that they were submitted to the board secretary. This would change it to say that to the person designated by the president. And currently that is Christina. So it would be consistent with our current practice. The next change would be to standing rule number 8 on election and terms of officers. And it is an amendment to that would add language that is specific to the 2021 election. You may recall that because we didn't have an election this year, we're going to have everyone elected next year. And in order to get back to our staggered terms, this amendment to the standing rules explains how that would then allow us to get back to the staggered terms. The next one is to standing rule 11, which has to do with the responsibilities of board liaisons. And it adds language that the board liaisons are expected to regularly attend and submit written reports of all meetings, activities, and issues pertaining to the liaison position to be included into the board agenda packet. The next one has to do with the partial absences, and it just clarifies that the minutes would show the partial absences. The next one, the next 3 are new ones. So these are the most significant. Number 13 has to do with funding requests. This is a revision from what was presented, what you had before you last month. We hadn't discussed it, but this substitutes for it. And it really clarifies the roles and responsibilities of the budget committee as it comes to reviewing requests from committees to see whether or not they are in compliance. And it also clarifies which items are pre-approved and don't need to go back for any further approvals. The next, that's number 13. Number 14. Cheryl, can you put 14 up?
Sorry, the Mad Bomber distracted me.
Oh. Number 14 is language regarding the neighborhood purpose grants. And because again, we didn't have any language about how they were to be administered. And this says that the board may at its discretion decide to have neighborhood purpose grants. So the board has to decide that the process is determined by the board on an annual basis and posted on the website. And then if they do decide to do that, that the Budget and Finance Committee then are the ones that are responsible for screening the applications for compliance, et cetera. And the last one has to do with the youth member selection. And basically what this did is it took this out of our bylaws, which it was a slightly different process, and put it into our standing rules so it was easier if we needed to change it in the future. But it also changed it slightly and made it clear that the Youth and Outreach Committee is responsible for setting the process of selection of the youth representative. Previously, it said that the president would appoint a committee to be responsible. This just clarified it would be the Youth and Outreach Committee. So those are the proposed changes to the standing rules. Came out of committee.
Any discussion? Please raise your hand.
There are no raised hands at this point, Mr. President.
Okay, let's go ahead and vote on the changes.
Rock?
Cheryl?
Yes.
Armando? Armando? Come back to him. John Barbera?
Yes.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly. Mary?
Yes.
Braun?
Yes.
John DeMeglio? John DeMeglio? We'll come back to him. Dan?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Sorry, what did I do here?
Forgot.
Cynthia. I forgot Cynthia.
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Sophia?
Yes.
Chris? Chris?
Yes.
And John DeMeglio?
John DeMeglio's no.
Thank you. Okay, 13 yes, 1 no.
Okay, great. Okay, next on the agenda is the Christensen Science Center Ad Hoc Committee. I kind of thought we might have already had a report from
Victor.
From Vic.
Victor's, but if there's anything else that needs to be added, Chris or John?
There is not. We haven't met, and I haven't gotten any updates. Like everything else, it's on hold. I don't think the district knows much of what's going to be happening.
Great. No Hank meeting has occurred, and we have had bonk meetings, and they've basically been looking at stakeholder or changes in some bylaws for some neighborhood councils, and that has essentially been the action of bonk, and they've been very condensed meetings. Let me make a real quick announcement, if I could. For those committees that have not met, please let me know when you're going to meet so that I can set up your Zoom meeting. Looks like that's one of my new functions until I could somehow figure out a way to get someone else to do it and hand over the license. So, but the other thing too that's even more important is that I think when I schedule a Zoom meeting for a committee, if you consistently meet every time at on a particular date, I can have that meeting as a reoccurring meeting, and they'll be on your calendar, your personal calendars, through an invite for the duration of the reoccurrence. Right now, like our executive committee and also our neighborhood council committee meetings, they're already on our on the calendar for, I think, through December. It can happen the same way with the bylaws. So please consider what days you're going to choose for your committee meetings. Let's keep them consistent. I can schedule them in for you, and we won't have to do that. Whoa, there's a cat there that's disappearing. And we could just do it that way. It's a whole lot easier because I'll tell you, I guess it's easier as we go along with the, you know, scheduling them, but you got to be exact. And I would like to not have to do it every month, 6 or 7 times a month.
Ray, can I add to that? If the committee chairs could please send the schedule of their committee meetings to Christina so she could put them on our website calendar. Planning and Land Use has done this, the Executive Board, Youth and Outreach. You know, if you wait to send it just with your agenda, the public doesn't even know that there's going to be a meeting until 72 hours ahead of time. So please, you know, at least get a couple of months worth of meeting dates and send them to Christina so she could post it on our website. Thank you.
The other thing I want to say real quickly is you'll notice that we don't have any liaison information on there on our agenda as we usually carry. We're going to choose them next month, so please be, you know, for those of you who want to be part of one of the liaisons, we're going to kind of hold you all accountable for making any and all meetings that they have scheduled, and also kind of make sure that you also post minutes or notes on those meetings so that we can all have the opportunity to be updated as we go along. Anyway, item number 10, any general comments on non-agenda items by board members? We'll go, because of the time, I'm going to say let's do it 1 minute, 1 round, should you have anything to say. I see no hands up. Oh,
nope, you got one. You got Chris.
There's Chris.
Hold on, I got to reset the clock to 1 minute now. Hold on. Okay, go.
All right, yeah, I just wanted to comment on an incident that occurred on June 2nd during the kind of fervor and hype that was concerned with civil unrest and protests and also criminal behavior, including looting and vandalism and theft and such. There was a picture shared on social media of a person armed with a rifle sitting in front of Big Nick's. It's a misdemeanor under California law, but basically you can't walk around carrying a gun. And this person was, and not only did it happen, and it was witnessed and reported and commented on and liked and shared and such. But you know, what I think, I immediately noticed this is illegal. I shared it with law enforcement. I sent it to CD15's office to Representative Barragan. I got no response from anybody, and nothing was ever done about it. I thought we had rule of law. I thought that, I mean, and Big Nick's later made
Chris, your time's up. Can you wrap it up?
Yeah. Anyway, a written apology was made in social media, kind of trying to explain away the incident, but I was really disappointed that it happened. The statement it makes about our community, that is, I'm prepared to shoot somebody for this pizza parlor, and the fact that none of the public officials contacted made any even acknowledgement or response. So
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Gwen has her hand up. Gwen, Ray's got me setting it at 1 minute. Sorry, he's the bad guy.
I too wanted to discuss that incident. Again, we're in this situation with where there are groups of people who perceive behavior like that as a threat. And I'm hoping there's a way that the community might be sensitive to, you know, the problems between self-protection and where we are right now. This requires a lot more than 1 minute, but I too would appreciate Joe possibly speaking on this, and maybe a discussion or a town hall regarding just some of the things that all of our community have dealt with in the last.
Just at the bell. Thanks. And Melanie had her hand up.
Yeah. One of the things that I want to talk about that all of us need to be cognizant of, and I know the thing with Big Nick's, the gun thing was legit, but there are a lot of fake news type stuff going on Facebook all around. And it's our responsibility as board members, as well as stakeholders, to make sure that what we're sharing and what we're spreading and what we're saying, when we see it on Facebook, just because it's there doesn't mean it's so. We need to vet it, we need to check it, and I've been guilty of it, and not repost it until you're sure that it's something that's happened. LAPD had to issue a statement to all Facebook groups telling them that they're going to come down on people if they start posting stuff and sharing stuff that has not been proven as factual. If you haven't seen it, you don't know of it, don't post it.
Thank you.
I have something real quick, if there's no one else.
There's no other hands up, Mr. President.
So this will be quick. I do want to kind of end with a really up note, and not that anything else said before has been down, because it's been very, it's been something that has to be said. But on Saturday, we had a unity march, and I was so happy. I was able to participate, and I'm really happy to participate in that. Also, Sophia, thank you so much for participating, and Gwen participated. So I want to say that we had a great march. We had a great rally. And when it was all said and done, everyone went home. It was a great day. I think San Pedro set the tone for these types of marches down the ways. So bravo, San Pedro. And one last thing real quick. Sophia, congratulations. You're graduating, you're going to school. Where are you going? Davis?
Yeah.
Congratulations, Sophia. So
Awesome.
proud of you. Do good.
Thank you.
Make us proud.
I will try.
All right. Thank you, Sophia. All right. If there's nothing else, I'd like to call this meeting adjourned, and we'll see each other again on July 13th. Thank you for making this, I was very nervous. We were all very nervous, planning this thing out. Thank you so much, all of you, for helping us out on this, keeping this some time. I think we had a great meeting. Thank you all. Good night.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye. Hi, Sophia.
Good night, John.
Good night, John Boy.